Each night, millions of Americans worry about where they will sleep and where their next meal will come from. Homelessness is not a new problem in this country, and for many it brings to mind images of drug addicts, runaways, and veterans. But this current economic crisis has created a new population of homeless. Hundreds of thousands of families who were living the American dream have fallen into an American nightmare. My name is Lindsay Rousseau-Burnett, and in this documentary, I will be talking with just a few of the families who have been hit hard by this economic recession. They have become part of a growing population of middle-class homeless.
I'm a trained teacher, and I worked for an elementary school.
And then what happened?
With all the budget cuts, I got the pink slip. They let us go.
I worked in the line service department at the phone company, and they, well, first they downsized our department, and then they actually moved our department down to Anaheim. And yeah, they offered us other positions in the company, but I couldn't take that position that they offered.
Well, I was a systems analyst for a big company for the most recent job, 24 years.
I was an office manager for a mental health clinic that catered to low-income clients.
And you don't have your jobs now, and what happened?
I was laid off 2 years ago because funding got very tight. And I was the first to go, and each of the people there had to do their own office managing.
Well, you know, everything was great. I got divorced about 4 years ago, and I got the house as part of the settlement. And then about a year ago, I lost my job. And I thought, well, maybe I could sub or I could do something else, but there hasn't really been any work. And it's really hard because if I try to find work and it goes past the 3 o'clock, then I got to pay for childcare, which is about $10 an hour. And then it's hard that I'm kind of working for nothing. So it's been kind of hard to find work, which is why our house is in foreclosure.
Well, it was pretty much the last sort of straw in terms of our being able to hold on to that.
I'm going to lose many things that I love. I won't be able to sing anymore. I won't be able to dance. I won't have any privacy because I'd be too shy to do that anywhere else. So.
We just borrowed some money from my sister, 3 months worth of mortgage, because we're 1 month behind now. And she can ill afford to give it to us, so we have to get jobs. We're actively looking.
And we've been looking. I've been looking since I was laid off, with no luck.
I used to be a paralegal, and I worked in a nationwide, well-known law firm in the financial district. And I made pretty good money. And suddenly that job disappeared, and there I was, unemployed and with a big mortgage hanging over my head. I lost my job in 2007, and I had this wonderful small Victorian house which was perfect for me, and I had a mortgage on it. And I'd go down to the bank and I'd smile at the bank manager and wave, and he'd smile back at me. And then suddenly I lost my job. He was no longer speaking to me. I'd walk in the bank, he'd look the other way. And I knew then that I was in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what happened. I mean, everything was great. Everyone loved me. I had a great job, and we were doing great, and then the next thing I knew, I didn't have a job. And you know, you don't think it's gonna last. You think, oh, I'll get another job, it's not that big of a deal. And then time goes on, and the bills keep coming, and all of a sudden, you can't pay them.
Yeah, well, we're still in the house. The bank officially foreclosed on it and pretty much put it up for auction, you know, just a couple weeks later. But we haven't gotten any eviction notice yet, so we're still in the unit, and yeah, working on Plan B.
Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know.
We've been there 20 years, and our kids were raised there, and we don't want to lose it. So I don't know.
We've done so much with that house. I mean, and not just the things we built, which, kitchens and bathrooms, but, we have trees that are 60 feet tall that we planted ourselves.
No, and we've been careful. We've been very frugal. It isn't like we're spendthrifts. We had 3 kids to raise, and we've been very careful with our money, and we thought we were doing it really well. I didn't have a pension because I came from a nonprofit, and his pension is flying out the window because we're not working.
After I lost my house, I took my IRA out early, got a penalty, needed it. I had been I had been a business professional. I had been working for one of the top law firms, and I made a tragic mistake. I didn't give up that life. And I went through my IRA. I kept my mortgage up. My IRA is gone. I kept going to the theater. I kept eating out. If I had to do all over again, I just would have gone to the bottom line and started living like a church mouse, but I didn't because, you're used to being a middle-class professional. So then what happened was that the balloon payment arrived and I lost my home.
Okay, we're going to be talking to Tony Fitzgerald today, who's a financial expert. So what I'd like to start off with is asking you, what type of experiences have your clients or people in the workshops had?
Well, we're facing a lot of people over the past several years that have lost their jobs or their businesses. A lot of small business owners have come in where the economy's gotten so bad that their businesses have failed, so they've lost their income. And the property values on their homes have dropped at the same time. So here they are without a job. Everything's increasing. All of their debt, they've been using their credit cards to live on, and their mortgages are out of control. So those are the people that we're dealing with now that are facing these hardships.
How have what's happened when they've lost their homes, and what have they tried to do to save it?
Well, a lot of people are just trying to scrape together money any way they can. They've left their professions because of not being able to stay in their own professions, so they're trying to either go back to school and learn a new profession, or they're just taking small part-time jobs that don't pay very well. They're doing whatever they can to just scrape money together to pay their bills.
What about the savings or the credit cards? What's happened with that?
Unfortunately, a lot of people have maxed out their credit cards, and so they're still just trying to stay afloat. They don't want to, they want to hang on to their credit, but yet they can't because their credit cards are maxed out, so their debt-income ratio is lowering their credit scores as they speak, so they're just not able to get out from underwater.
What about their friends or their families or other support networks they've had? Has that been helpful or not?
Some people have family that have been able to step in and help out and maybe pay a couple months mortgages for them or whatever to keep them from losing their houses. People sympathize, but they really don't understand what they're really going through. Some of these people have lived in their houses for over 20 years or maybe even from the time they were a child. And they have pets that it's really difficult for them to move with pets. Their pets are just like family to them, so it's agonizing for them to have to maybe place these pets in homes or in shelters. It's just really sad situation when they have to be uprooted from the place that they've lived most of their lives.
Yeah. How are people coping, or psychologically, how has this affected them?
A lot of depression. There's a lot of depression and anxiety going on out there right now because people are very fearful about their futures and how they're ever going to be able to stay in their homes, or if they have to relocate, or if they'll ever be able to buy a home again.
Yeah, and these are people who are used to a middle-class lifestyle.
Absolutely. They had thriving businesses, but a lot of the rents on their offices got so high that they could not afford the upkeep or the overhead on their businesses, so they had to completely walk away from their businesses and completely start over.
What do you think we should do as a society to help people in this situation?
Well, I get that question a lot. And that's on my mind a lot, and I even lay awake at night thinking about what we need to do, because so many people have been affected by the recession. And first of all, I think that we need to get back to a cash-only society. I mean, we've just gotten out of control with credit cards and interest rates and even mortgages that have terrible interest rates on their loans. We need to start getting back. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. Put away some cash. We should have at least 3 months rent or mortgage payments in the bank for emergencies. So people need to start saving whatever they can and start putting a little bit away so that when they lose their job or extra bills hit, they have an emergency fund. We've gotten away from that. Also, if you have credit cards, this is a big problem. Obama has started to work with the banks and the credit card companies so that they can't just charge us whatever they want and all these ridiculous fees and high interest rates. People are used to only paying the minimum payment. That is so dangerous but it's psychological. When that bill hits, they're going through hard times and they think, well, I can get away with only paying the minimum payment. That's all I'm going to pay this month because that's all I have. Well, eventually, nothing is getting bought down on whatever you've borrowed. You're only paying the interest. Same with these interest-only loans. I believe that interest-only loans or adjustable rate loans should be illegal. The lenders should be responsible when the market value drops, not the borrowers. Because the borrowers can't control if a market value drops. I know people where the market value has dropped over $200,000. So their loan is completely out of whack and they can't even sell their house because they can't get what it's worth.
What about the corporations? Is there something that they might do privately to help people in the homeless situation?
Corporations?
Yeah.
I don't know what that would be, except for if they start to fundraise to get funds set aside for people that are in hardship, that they might be able to help people out. I also think that we need to get away from the credit cards. We just got, as a society, they were just giving credit cards to anybody with like $100,000 limits. They weren't even checking what people were income, if they were even eligible for these credit cards. And then they're only paying minimum payments, so nothing's getting paid down. So I suggest either cut up your credit cards, or if you have a credit card to keep good credit standing, pay it off every month. Don't pay interest. Interest is what's keeping everybody in poverty. The banks and mortgage companies have been charging so much interest that people can only afford to pay the interest and they can't afford to pay their loan down. So I think that if we get back to that, once again, to a cash-only society, or paying off your bill every month in full to keep your credit score good, then that would be my advice.